Good evening. Today is Monday, May 19th, 2025. It's 7 p.m. I'd like to call the regular Board of Selectmen meeting to order.
Troy Lemire.
Paul Marino.
Paul Harrington.
Todd Archelashi,
William Hester.
Candy Perez.
Selectman Grappo and Selectman Pozo are excused, and Town Clerk Albanese is also excused. Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Agenda review. Does anyone have anything? Moving on to the approval of minutes of our regular meeting on May 5th.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes for the May 5th meeting.
Is there a second?
Second.
We have one typo on the minutes, page 2, number 8. Jamie Colligan is a U, not a D. It's listed as D, that one, and 9, she's listed as a U. That's the only correction that anyone has brought up to me. Anyone have anything else? Seeing none, all in favor? Troy? In favor?
I wasn't here.
Oh, abstaining? Okay. So it's going to be 4-0. The regular meeting, or the minutes of our town meeting on May 12th, 2025.
Make a motion to approve those minutes too.
Thank you, Bill. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Paul. Any discussion? Seeing no discussion, all in favor? Unanimous? Moving on to item number 5, citizens' comments. The Board of Selectmen welcomes public comments. Speakers will be limited to 3 minutes. Please give your name and address. Does anyone wish to speak? Oh, yeah. Please hit the red button on the microphone right up here. Hit the red button on the microphone.
Just
one that's a little
anywhere where
microphone.
it's flashing there.
Yep.
There you go.
Perfect.
Michael Peliquin, 91 North Street, Litchfield, Connecticut. I recently wrote you people a letter. I see the article from May 12th. Winston taxes rise to higher education costs and shrinking grand list. My real estate broker made an offer to the town, got it to the town manager. He doesn't even have the respect to tell her that nothing's going on with the offer. Made it for $800,000. I was the only one in the past that answered that RFP. When Josh Kelly was here, he doesn't. I'm here to ask you to do an RFP on 118 acres that I can build houses with one of the largest home builders in this state that will increase this grand list so you don't have to see any more of these headlines. I'm asking you to do, otherwise I'm gonna have no choice but to sue. I did everything you asked on the last RFP. Josh Kelly left, heard nothing more. I'm here now, the town owns 200 and something properties. I'm asking for an RFP on 118 acres that the town has owned for 10 years. On a house in this community priced at $250,000, those taxes are going up $483. And from what I can understand, that's a lot of groceries for a lot of people who live in this town. And I've been a developer going on 65 years from Arizona and Texas and have done thousands and thousands of houses. You can call the city of Scottsdale, Arizona. So I'm asking again before I have the law school of Yale, Open Communities, we file a lawsuit and ask why hasn't the town issued another RFP? It's government waste. All I'm asking for, he says to the broker, well, we get all kinds of calls. Issue an RFP. Let the best man win and buy it. That's all I'm asking. And it's not unjust. It's not an unjust request. The property's sitting up there for 10 years for houses. It's zoned for houses. I'm asking peacefully for an issuance of an RFP on the 118 acres, Mountainside and Wayland's Hill Road. That's all I'm asking for. Otherwise, I'll have no choice but to go to court. And let the best man win there, but I think I will. And I think I will win more under 830G. I don't intend to do an 830G. I have one of the largest home builders in the state, E.G. Homes out of Southbury, Connecticut. You can look them up and see how fine a builder they are. We're not coming in to build anything that is gonna diminish the value of any home in this town. All I'm asking for is the opportunity again. I'm only asking again to purchase that land. That's my business. That's how I make my living at 83 years old. That's it. I've done it all my life. And I would appreciate that you do an RFP within a reasonable period of time for the 118 acres. Doesn't hurt you at all to do it. He's saying people are ringing his phone off the hook. Hey, if we don't buy it, we don't come up with the right price, we don't get it. Somebody else does, and it does not hurt this community when you got $483 going more to property taxes because of the grand list. Our development up there will add $25 million to that grand list. So please, I'm asking peacefully, I'd like to have a grand list on 118 acres, of which you've owned the property 10 years. I was the successful bidder before, and I made an offer $800,000 now. He's had it. Nothing. Doesn't call me, no, what? I live in the center of Litchfield. I come to Mario's, one night to
Mr. Mayor,
Mario's.
point of order, we've exceeded 3 minutes by quite a bit.
Yeah, all right.
Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Comments are noted. Anyone else wish to speak? Seeing no one, moving on to item number 6, Town Manager's Report.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So we just wrapped up the Eversource informational session. Thanks for those who attended. I wish it was a little bit more fuller, but I think it was important that the information that was put out by Eversource was a good one. I'll put it out publicly right now. If you want to be on the update list from Eversource, in that when they are updating the community, you can be emailed directly from them. Get your email address over to my office and we'll make sure we put it on that list. Whatever information that Eversource is pushing out to our community, we will also push out on our website, our social media channels, and we may unlock our Everbridge because our subscription is going up. A little bit of a change that we had just found out tonight, which was a surprise to me, that when they are working in certain areas where they do need to go into the median, they will be moving traffic all over onto the right side, so it'll be as if during the fall foliage festival, where traffic is going in both directions over on one side. That's not going to happen on an everyday basis, but in a situation where they do need to get into the median, they will be closing down an entire 2 lanes of the road, and they will divert traffic over onto the other side. Again, the project is going to start at 8 o'clock in the morning. They have to be off the road at 4 o'clock. They're out there right now doing some more test holes. They did find a little bit of issues with some leak. They've corrected those leaks. They have a few more test holes that they need to continue. Thursday, they feel already is going to be a washout, but they do hope that the project is going to start Tuesday of next week. You do see some of the signs out there as well. There will be no parking signs that do go up. They will go up the night before that particular section. That no parking, and it will say on the sign, will take effect at 6 a.m. in the morning till 4 p.m. in the afternoon. In that, you know, again, we want to obviously keep our businesses open. We obviously want to have the foot traffic. That they're going to just close that particular section down, 150-foot sections. They're going to work in at a time. So that particular area, believe it or not, it's 80-foot sections they're working on. But because of machinery and equipment, it's going to be 150 feet. But there's only 80 section of the road that will be broken. But they're going to take a 150-foot radius in order to, you know, do the work that they need to do in that 80 feet. So again, the project is going to start, looks like the day after Memorial Day. You'll see all the equipment out there digging up the road. Before they move to the next section, they have to complete the section they're currently working on. And then move to the next section. DOT foreman will be out on the job every single day monitoring Eversource's work. They are the only ones that can permit them to work past 4 o'clock, and it really needs to be on an emergency basis only. It's not going to be because, you know, they had, you know, a little bit more to go, only work to be done on an emergency basis. So that's all on the Eversource work that's about to begin next week. Again, stay close by to our website, our social media, and then if you want, send over your email address to the town manager's office. We'll make sure we get it over to Eversource, and then they can update you real time with what they're gonna push out as well. Moving on, we obviously, you know, it's been in the paper, it's probably been on the news. There is that dog case issue that's been going on. We've been working close with our attorney, and we are moving forward in accordance with the legal guidance we're receiving from our town attorney. Our focus remains on public safety and the fair application of the law. I know many are eager. I get many phone calls and a lot of emails into my office daily. I know many are eager for the closure. Our next court case is May 30th. It's a Friday at 9:30. I, along with many other town people, employees, have been asked to testify in the civil matter. That's all I can really say right now, that we have a criminal matter and a civil matter. I can note, because it is public record, that on Friday, the dogs were temporarily given to the town of Winchester, but we still can't do much with the dogs because we need to take full ownership of those animals, and hopefully that will come about on the 30th, but more on that, you know, as we go down the road. Moving on, last week, big highlight, we had the state comptroller visiting us in town. It's not every day we get a high-ranking state official in town, and we made the most of it, and I want to thank the board members that were able to stop in and see him. We made several stops along local businesses, giving the comptroller to see firsthand the entrepreneurial spirit that keeps our town ticking. We wrapped up with a ribbon cutting at the YMCA, which has a brand new wellness spa. I'll be honest, I'm looking to find some time in my schedule to maybe hit that wellness spa. I haven't found it yet, but they have all kinds of new machines down there to promote, you know, wellness. But more importantly, and having the comptroller visit was much more than just supporting the local businesses, although that's huge and that's important. It also gave us a rare opportunity to showcase our community as someone who has real influence over state funding. As we continue to apply for grants, having someone like the comptroller understand what makes our town special, having them experience it firsthand, is only gonna help us when decisions need to be made. In every single business that we went to, the comptroller would bring up SIF applications or direct bonding applications. And he said, because we are a distressed community, that we should immediately apply for those. You saw last week that we did apply, or excuse me, 2 weeks ago, we put off a SIF application for the Sue Grossman Trail. Tonight before us will be another application to help with our sewer plant. And this is a gentleman that got to see firsthand what this town was all about. He was impressed. I received a text message shortly after he got in his car, thanking for the visit and what a wonderful town we are. So I'm looking forward to making that phone call and saying, hey, we got 2 applications in. Hopefully you can help us, and hopefully we can bring some more money into this town. Budget season, as you all know, we're in full swing. We had our annual budget meeting last week. I want to thank everyone who participated, asked questions, and offered feedback. Leading up, meetings continue with Julie and I. We spent time at the senior center, meeting with residents in small groups, and making sure everyone's voice is heard and questions are answered. I want to remind everybody that Tuesday after the Memorial Day at Pearson School, the polls will be open from 8 to 8. So there really is no reason, make a plan, come out and vote. As we look ahead at next year's budget, we are actually closing out this year's budget. And Anne Marie sat down quickly on Friday. We're just looking at projections. Pleased to share as the picture looks right now, revenue looks to be slightly over forecasted, which is good. And expenses are coming in pretty much right on budget. So we're looking good on the current budget that's going to end June 30th. Revenue is a little up, expenses are looking good. We'll get a better picture as we move on. But right now, just an update on where we stand with that. Community survey officially closed. We had overwhelming responses of well over 400 residents taking at least 15 minutes out of their day to share their thoughts, concerns, and ideas. We're in the process of compiling and analyzing all of that data. We're going to give this board a report. Obviously, we're not going to identify anybody. We can't. It was anonymous. But we want to show what, these residents that took the time and participated in the survey, where they want to see the town. So we're working on that report now. And last but not least, before I close, hope you saw when you drove in that the American flags were displayed today along Main Street. This was officially taken over by the town this year. We purchased new, smaller flags that won't get tangled around the lamppost or the poles itself. We did purchase new outdoor poles, and we purchased new brackets. I was very nervous today because if you were outside, it was very windy. So today was a good test to see how those flags would hold up, and they did great. So proud that the town took that over. We'll have them up obviously until the fall. I got several phone calls. People were getting nervous. Don't get nervous. I may get it done right on time, maybe not early, but we'll get it always done just in time for the holiday coming up next Monday. With that, I'm going to open it up for questions from the board.
Questions from the board?
I just got one thing on the Eversource thing about the roads being torn up. Did anybody look into working nights for that?
So, great question, Selectmen. They asked the DOT, the DOT denied it.
Really, it's a ghost town around here at night.
DOT denied it. But keep in mind, when you look at the businesses, you look at the restaurants, they would lose the parking in front of their shops or their restaurants at night. And typically those restaurants are obviously busier at night than they are during the day. They did approach the DOT and asked to do it all at night. The DOT rejected it, and that's why they're 8 to 4.
Any other questions? All right, seeing no other questions, moving on to item 7, Finance Director's Report.
And Amory, before when you all walked in, I don't know where mine went. Oh, you have it. There was a sheet in front of you. That's Anne Marie's report. I don't know what I did with mine.
Yes, my apologies. I did not realize that Cherry was going to not be here at the end of the week, so my report did not get into your packet over the weekend. Before I start, I want to there's a couple corrections on the transfer request.
Oh.
I think they're just some errors in the template. It's on the action request page. In the middle of the page, it says to cover fiscal 23 year-end deficits. That's not correct.
Oh,
And at the bottom of the page, it says, the very last sentence says, to cover charges for training and education. That is also not correct. Those would be charges for police, clothing, equipment, and vehicles. Okay. So these are the results for the general fund through April 30th of 2025. We are 10 months into the year, which is 83% of our fiscal year is complete. Our current year-to-date property tax revenue is $27,434,251. We're just at a little over 100.32%. That is in comparison to collections of the prior year of $26,511,687, which was 99.74%. Supplemental motor vehicle, $294,716 at 130.98%. prior year, 248,245, that was 124% of budget. Past due taxes, 345,950, that's 57.66%, in comparison to 158,998 in the prior year, and that was 53%. Total year-to-date revenue, 38,227,228, 93.6%, 68% of budget. That's compared to 37,938,069, which was 96.94% for the same period last year. Total expenditures with encumbrances, 33,081,528. That's 81.07%. That's in comparison to 32,876,066, which was 84.01%. Our municipal aid received, in the month of April, we received the final education cost sharing of $3,912,066, and our final pilot Pequot installment of $16,491. We received the DWSRF reimbursement number 3 for the water tank projects of $1,623,363. Our cash flow at the end of April, $14,129,150. Of that balance, just a little over $10 million was invested. We had $455,123 in the Northwest Community Bank sweep, $2.5 million in STIF, and $7,053,000 in the Northwest Community Bank money market. Our April capital expenditures, $3,407 on annual road maintenance, $5,500 on the Hannafin Road culvert, $17,584 West Wakefield Boulevard bond project, and $4,899 Old Colbert Road bond project. I would say that our expenditures for the month don't reflect the amount of activity that's going on. It just appears to be a short. We didn't have a lot of invoices for the month of April on capitals. Questions?
Questions from the board? Seeing no questions, thank you very much.
Thanks, Amory.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Moving on to item number 8, correspondence. Does anyone have anything? Item 9, boards and commissions. Selectman Lemire.
Okay, so we have tonight, one resignation from the Winchester Housing Authority, Tony Page. Thank you, Tony, for your service, and, sorry you had to resign. And then we have 5 people that are on consideration for step 1. And we also have 1 nomination tonight, and I'd like to open it up for a nomination for Carl Benedict.
Do you have 4 or 5 consideration?
1, 2, 3, 4, I see.
Okay, 4. Okay. Continue.
You don't have an extra, right?
Huh?
There's no extra consideration?
Not that I know.
Okay. You said 5, that's why we're
Yeah, I was counting.
applicant?
That sounds great, yeah. Yeah, so I'll ask the board for a nomination for Carl Benedict.
So moved?
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, that's for her Historic Commission, term to end 12/31/2026.
Any discussion? All in favor? Unanimous?
We also have a lot of openings still. We have 2 members, 2 alternates for the architectural review, which I think I think the ones that they're going after is conservation. Conservation Committee is full. Cultural District needs 6 members. Historic Commission needs 2 members. Housing Authority needs no members, because they believe there's somebody on that already.
Consideration?
And consideration, oh, that's the one that's missing. Oh, no, it isn't, there it is, yeah. Inland Wetlands, 2 members. Laurel City Commission, multiple openings. Recreation Board, 1 member, and Zoning Board of Appeals, 2 alternate positions. Thank you.
Thank you, Troy. Moving on to item 10, unfinished business. There is no unfinished business listed. Item 11, new business, 25-04, resolution supporting the application for Community Investment Fund 2030 Round 7 program funding.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm going to combine A and B if that's okay with the board, because one is the resolution, and then obviously there is letters. Let me talk about them all, and then maybe answer all the questions. So we are a distressed community. We can't apply for SIF applications. It roughly is almost $2 billion that the state is giving out to municipalities between 2025 to 2032. Only 55 communities in the state of Connecticut can apply for a SIF grant, so the chances of us getting it is probably really, really high. So we're out there, as you recall, 2 weeks ago, we did put an application to help with the Sue Grossman Trail. Tonight before you, and man, I would love to take all of the credit for the name of this, but I have to give it to Tom and Jim, who came up with the rescue plan, which is rehabilitation and evaluation of the sewer components for upgraded efficiencies, AKA the rescue plan. What this is, it's asking the state of Connecticut for $250,000 for planning funds to bring in an engineering group to come and look at our plant and write plans that we can obviously then go back to the DEEP, and they have a 55% reimbursement of any of those plans that we're looking to possibly move forward. In order to unlock the 55%, we do need to bring in an engineer to come up with these concrete stamped plans. With this $250 or $250,000 planning fund, it is to pay that engineer to come in, look at our plant, look at all of our machinery in the plant, come back with a plan of exactly what upgrades we need, have it stamped by an engineer. We can then go off to DEEP and hopefully get 55% reimbursement on any of the components that we're looking to move forward. So before you tonight is one, the resolution allowing the town to apply for a SIF grant. Again, there is no required match. There's no obligation from the town to put any money in. If we get to $250,000, that is the first step, and then the second step would be a letter that we have attached that we've authored for the mayor that we would send along with the application. We did reach out to our state delegation as well in hopes that they would write a letter. If this all gets approved tonight, we will engage them even harder to make sure they write letters. But before you tonight is a SIF application, $250,000 for the rescue plan. Absolutely love that name. Great work, Jim and Tom. I told them I wanted to steal it because it was so clever, but I couldn't do it. But I'll open it up for questions.
Questions from the board?
I just did the math on that, and it comes to just shy of 14 million. What are they gonna do with the rest of the money, the billions? Can we go for, can we ask for another one?
Wait.
14.
If 55 towns get $250,000, it comes out to 14 million, they got a 1.775 billion.
I got it. So you can apply up to $250,000 for planning grants. Right? You could also put in a project for $5 million and ask for that. So it's not
Out of this fund?
Out of this SIF fund.
That's
Yeah,
what I'm asking,
yeah.
yeah.
So you'll see that towns, maybe we go back. And one of the buy-ins from the state of Connecticut is if you get them to buy in on the planning grant, they have now invested into this. They're gonna look at the project down the road and see, okay, what other funding do we have to unlock in order for these projects to move forward? So it's a great step. You get them to buy in on the planning side of the things, and then when you're ready to move the project forward, you need to go back and ask for more money. They've paid for these nice stamped plans. Now we go back and we may ask for a couple $1 million.
Doing the first step, they're paying for.
Exactly.
To go
And-
after the second step.
Exactly, yes.
I'm in.
Other questions?
It's more of a statement. This is long overdue and much, much needed. The sewer plant was built over 30 years ago, and it's what lasts 30 years. Some cars do, but with a lot of rehab. This is a much, much needed project, and this 250 just the beginning. It is going to be millions of dollars to fix this plant to be up and operational, which will also help on growing the grand list, help on the Sue Grossman Trail, will help the town and everything, so it's much, much needed. So I move that the Board of Selectmen submit a letter of support for the town of Winchester's SIF 2030 Round 7 Planning Grant application on behalf of the Board of Selectmen and authorize the mayor to sign the letter on behalf of the Board of Selectmen.
Second.
Thank you, Bill. Thanks, Troy. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Unanimous?
Can I get one more motion too? Or were you gonna make that, Bill? I don't wanna step on you.
Which motion
I
is
also
that?
need the certified resolution to direct the town to apply for $250,000 of the rehabilitation and engineering study for the rescue plan. I just need, in order for Glenn to sign this.
Yes, I'll make that motion.
Okay.
Second.
Any discussion?
Well said, Bill.
Thank you.
Good job.
All in favor? Unanimous?
Okay, thank you. I'm gonna take that with me. 1 minute to catch up with you guys.
Outside.
I'm ready.
Moving on to item C, 25-16, proposed line item transfer by the Director of Finance.
Which I'm gonna obviously take. So before you tonight is 3 line items that our police department is looking to transfer into from the contracted services. The first one is clothing and equipment. We are bringing on a new officer hire. We are getting a resignation. This particular officer is leaving because his family is moving out of state. So we do have a certified officer coming from another town, looking to start immediately. We do not have any additional funds in the uniform line. We're gonna need $2,300 worth of equipment to outfit this new particular officer. Also, it's gonna require a new ballistic vest at $1,000. I think I'm gonna pause there, because then I gotta talk about maintenance of vehicles and then supplies and material. Any questions on the new officer coming in, certified officer coming in from another town? We need to obviously outfit the officer per the contract, and obviously we want our officers in uniform. We would need to move $4,000 into the clothing and equipment line to outfit this new officer to start on day 1.
Any questions?
I'm gonna move on to the maintenance of vehicles. Maintenance of vehicles, as you see, we are holding on, they're holding on 4 vehicle maintenance-related invoices totaling $4,024, and they had to just tow one of the Tahoes to George's Norfolk garage last evening due to a disabling transmission issue. So we don't know what that bill is obviously gonna be, so the police department is asking to have that line item brought up to $10,000 so that we can pay off the $4,000 bills that are out there and possibly fix a transmission in one of our Tahoes. And then last but not least, the supplies and material, which was not listed, and I did call down to Kathy today and get an explanation. The supplies and material lines have been exhausted. They were mandated by the state to update all of their medical supplies that go in all of the bags of all of the cruisers, which completely wiped out their supplies and material line. So they do have some expenses that they need to take care of in the supplies and material line, and they're asking for $1,000 to restore that line so they can purchase some items before year end. Again, this is being covered with a line item within their actual, police budget of $15,000. Those are the 4 items. You have outfit of the new officer, keeping our cars on the road, and supplies and material, because we were hit with an expense that was unexpected, that we had to update some of the medical supplies that go in all of the cruisers.
Do we have a motion?
I move that the Board of Selectmen approve the line item transfer of $15,000 from 1-210-831-0000000, contracted services to clothing and equipment 1-210-818-0000-0000, in the amount of $4,000. Maintenance of vehicles 1-210-821-000000, I'm sorry, I left out a dash, 0000, in the amount of $10,000, and supplies and materials 1-210-825-0000-0000, in the amount of $1,000, for a transfer total of $15,000.
Second.
Thank you, Paul. Thank you, Bill. Any discussion? Seeing no discussion, all in favor? Unanimous? Item D, Public Works Road Update.
So we,
You're on.
You're on.
yeah, I know, I gotta get used to that. With the reach for that. The arm. So, we did a bond update, like a month ago. But going into the construction season, Paul wanted to give you guys a little overview of what's coming next, you know, what's immediately on our agenda. So I'll jump into that real quick. And so Oakdale Avenue, there's a drainage problem there that has to be corrected. We've, you know, tried to use the state bid to do a pipelining project. It came in way over budget. So we're working on reducing that scope to the worst section. But we still really want to get that thing done this summer. Highland Lake drainage projects are starting to pick up some steam. Towards the bottom of Forest Avenue near 608 West Wakefield Boulevard, we've got the engineer and surveyors working together to get their task orders into us for some stormwater quality improvements and a retaining wall. At 345 and 350 West Wakefield, surveyors and engineers are just getting started on that. There's a water quality issue and some drainage, so we want to try to, you know, combine that. We got some willing property owners that have made it easy for us to get access to the lake, because that's really the biggest issue with drainage at the lake, is how do you get the water from the roads to the lake without going through someone's property. So that makes the job much tougher. Similarly, we're working with the property owner at 332, 334. We've got a retaining wall similar to one on East Wakefield Boulevard last year that's holding up the road. That wall has begun to fail. So we're looking at the wall as well as some drainage problems in that area. The Grantville Road Bridge and the White Street Bridge, both of those have had their public information meetings, and we've spoken with the neighbors and kind of given them a timeline and what to expect up there. And so engineers have taken all of that information and plugging it into their design to try to, you know, make everything work. We scaled back the Grantville Bridge a little bit. DOT was proposing a much bigger, wider bridge with a bike lane and a bypass. We decided it just wasn't worth the extra several $100,000 for the few cars, so we scaled that back a little bit. White Street Bridge is much more complicated because we get a factory that gets truck deliveries every day. So they're working on the detours for that. That's the biggest unknown. And then projects that we're hoping to complete this work season that we have wetlands permits for are some drainage improvements around the 800 area of East Wakefield Boulevard. On West Wakefield Boulevard, we just finished some under drains and a new catch basin. Around the 225 to 305 area, there's about 400 feet of under drain that should take away an icy road condition and poor pavement. And then the Holland Beach area, the drainage is done, and we're getting close to getting the paver in there to pave that that parking area. We've increased it. I don't know quite yet how many spots we've added to it, but it's increased in size. It's going to be a little flatter. We're going to take away those huge puddles that are in that area. We're going to improve the crosswalk that goes to the ADA ramp into the water. So that's going to be a nice improvement for the public. The Highland Lake retrofit program, that's the one that's been in kind of engineering purgatory forever. Our clerk of the works has really dug his teeth into that and is working on getting all that stuff set up into the ArcGIS account, and that's really the first step on that. He's also been real busy with two other projects, putting together a sidewalk bid, which is basically a unit price bid for, different details of sidewalks, curb cuts, curbing, that kind of thing. That bid's scheduled to go out any time now, and then we can start piecemealing sidewalks wherever it makes the most sense. And then the other big project he's been working on is a unit price drainage bid for use all over town, especially on the bond projects like South Road, Wani Road, Spring Street, Newfield. And then it'll also get used on some other projects that are not bond projects, like the Orchard Street drainage, the Rockwell and Superior Street, and the Brookside Avenue and Riverside Avenue drainage projects. So that's really the key to getting the next projects going and getting us set up for winter next year. At least summer's hardly begun and we're trying to get set up for winter. So those are the big projects that are in the works, and we hope to have, if not done by the end of the work season, well underway. As far as the South Road, Wani Road, South Road would only get drainage, that wouldn't get the paving yet. And Wani Road, we'd like to get the whole thing done. So that's your quick update for what's coming in the next couple of months.
Got anything going on for Bridge Street? For that water problem?
That's a good question.
Was it Bridge Street?
That's a good question. I don't know if that's,
Boyd.
we've got to schedule that after the gas main that goes across the Bridge Street Bridge. We haven't got their timing. We've got another year before the grant expires, but I'd like to get that done this year. But I'm gonna have to make a note of that, because I honestly, that one slipped my list.
Hey, Jim, also, I had a couple of residents grab me at one of our public meetings. Boyd, the flooding from the lake drainage into Boyd, where do we stand with that?
Oh, Highland Lake Stream, yeah. So, Paul did give me a heads up that you were gonna ask on that, so I reached out to DOT, and essentially what they've done is, they've done their quick evaluation at the district level, and because of some of the complexities to that, meaning a lot of utilities buried in the road, a very narrow right-of-way, property owners that aren't totally excited about doing the work on their own, some disputed property lines, they've kicked this up a notch, so it's out of District 4 in the hands of the actual, grown-ups at Newington. And that will give them, kind of access to the full suite of engineers that they have, because they got a hydraulics and drainage unit that'll really take this and run with it. And then the biggest reason is, if push comes to shove, they don't have the horsepower at the district level to make stuff happen where you've got private property issues. So they wanted to get that up out of the district so that they had that push when the time came. The survey has been scheduled to, they got to survey the general area so they know where and where they can't send the water by gravity. If they send it, I guess it would be east on Boyd Street out towards Lake Street. It could get there by gravity, we believe, but then you're adding water into a drainage system that discharges onto private property, which is kind of not their policy. Going the other way, it's going to discharge into the river, but they've got MS4 issues that they've got to contend with, so they have to put some kind of a treatment device into it. So they got to figure out how to fit all that stuff into very little space. They reminded me that they're aware that there's a time frame on this, because winter's coming, and there's a deep drawdown, and water's gonna be coming out fast. So they're aware of it. Nothing can happen until the survey's done. That's the update. That's all I got for you.
From the, the squeaky wheel department, can we just regular contact with them? Does that help, you think? Because I can imagine this desk up in Newington with piles this high, and ours is down here, and
Yeah, I mean, it can help until it hurts, kind of a thing, If someone gets too squeaky, it goes to the bottom of the list.
Yep.
So you wanna walk the line of reminding them friendly and, being appreciative for the progress that they've made. They are putting real thought into it, so I'm at least happy about that. They're not just
sounds like it.
saying, yeah, we'll just get to it, we'll get to it, but they're really looking at the complexities. So I think they're well aware of the desire to get this done, not just by the board and the town, but they want to get the ice off that road, because that's a problem for them. and not just the ice, but the water year-round. You know, sometimes during that big 4-inch storm we had a couple weeks ago, there was standing water on that whole road. That's not exactly ideal, so.
Do you think they'll get to it before winter? If you were a betting man?
Say we got a better than 50-50 shot of it getting done. The problem is gonna be what they design. If it's something that's quick and easy, I think it'll happen. If it's gonna be a complex thing, that'll be a problem. The other factor is how willing is the property owner gonna be if they've got to come across private property, and what's the property owner get out of it? Because it's not solving the problem. The water's still coming through underneath their building and causing some issues, so it doesn't help that. So there's a lot of factors in play, but I sense that they really do want to make this happen on time. So for that reason, I'm giving it a 60% chance of success.
Good, thanks, Jim.
Okay.
Other questions?
I actually have some, and I'm gonna go backwards a little bit. On the other bond, excuse me, the other bond projects, was it Elm, Hubbard? I wrote down Colebrook, Hannafin. Are those jobs all done? Did they come on budget, under budget, over budget?
I'm not gonna be able to answer that exactly, but Elm Street, Hubbard Street are substantially complete. We still have a fight ahead of us because we're not happy with the condition of the concrete sidewalks. The contractor is saying it's salt. We're thinking it's not, so that's gonna turn into a fight. The Old Colebrook Road is substantially complete. We've got to do a little bit more, grading and touch up on the shoulders, and then the last 100 feet from Marshall Street in didn't get done because we had to do that culvert.
Yeah.
But the culvert's finished, so next time we have a million paving crew in, we're gonna finish off that last little section. Marshall Street needs a little bit of hydro seeding. What else was on that list?
I got Elm, Hannafin. I'm just wondering if they were,
Hannafin is, again, similar to Marshall Street. We gotta hydro seed a few areas.
and that's Anne Marie.
As far as the
Did
budgets,
answers, yeah, the budgets.
some are a little high, some are a little low. I don't know which ones are which. If you take and added them all together, I'm sure we're over budget.
Over.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I'm not surprised. That's
Yeah.
kind of what I was wondering.
Yeah.
Other questions? Thank you, Jimmy.
You bet.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jim.
Item E, discussion, possibly action regarding the mutual aid assistant agreement.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So I hope you had an opportunity to review the agreement that was attached in the packet. This came about when the Eversource project started to be discussed, that Eversource is looking to hire 2 officers a day to maintain the working area. As the Eversource reps were saying tonight, that these officers are also going to be directing people, walking them across the street. So I had a conversation with our chief of police, and I said, are we going to be able to staff 2 officers a day? He says, in the beginning, I think we're gonna be good. As summer, approaches, it's going to be hard. So I said, well, then what? And then he says, well, then it would go to a flag company, and then it would potentially go with nobody there. I go, well, we simply can't have that. What are our options? Can we bring in, police from other communities? He says, oh, well, we could look at a mutual aid agreement with the city of Torrington. Connecticut General Statute 7-277A authorizes the municipalities to enter into these type of agreements. I want to state perfectly clear that this is just for what they refer to as road jobs. Find it. In essence, what I want to ensure the community that a Torrington officer will not be responding to a domestic call, to a, any type of call when you dial. This is solely meant for, if we needed to, Torrington officers to come here and be on our main street or any other road job that may kick off over the summer as well. Our officers will still be responding, our Winchester, PD will still be responding to those 911 calls. This only is authorizing the city of Torrington to, come here after the jobs have been posted here and unfilled. So our officers obviously still get first crack. Once it goes through and that they become unfilled, it would then get shipped off into Torrington. Likewise, the flip side of it as well. If Torrington has jobs that become unfilled, they would then come down to come down to Winstead and see if any of our officers were looking to potentially fill those jobs. So before you tonight is a mutual aid agreement. I will note that I did send it off to our town attorney, which then told me I can't sign it. It needs approval from the Board of Selectmen per General Statute 7-277A. So the town attorney did look at the agreement. He said it's just your standard mutual aid agreement that many municipalities have. The city of Torrington is reviewing it as well, but our town attorney looked at it, saw nothing that would hinder the town from doing it, but we need the Board of Selectmen to approve this agreement. I couldn't sign it, just as town manager.
So section 5 and 6 talk about what you were trying to find, which is roadside construction or repair site in either town.
Thank you.
Want to hit John, 13?
Do I want to what?
Hit number 13.
13, the chief of police of the municipality providing assistance may, if necessary, to protect the safety and well-being of her municipality, recall any assisting police officers provided pursuant to this agreement. So the chief of police, to protect the safety and well-being of the municipality, recall any assisting police officers or equipment pursuant to this agreement. So it's giving the chief the ability, if he needs to protect the town, that he can engage officers as well.
So my question is, was the union notified, the police union? Is there any repercussions from the police union for entering an agreement without their okay of it?
Okay, great question. So the police union is batting this around. I can tell you, I spoke with many of the officers downstairs. It's a three-legged approach when it comes to this, in that one, the town needs to sign off, the union needs to sign off, and obviously Torrington needs to sign off. Really what it's gonna come down to on these road jobs is that if Eversource has them unfilled, they're gonna be filled by state police. And once they go to the state police, you will not see, Winchester police officers out there. I'll note, and it's, out there as plain as can be, that when officers are hired from an outside contractor like Eversource, they also pay for the FICA, the CMERS, an administration fee, and the car. I don't wanna say that there's extra money into it, but I can tell you that our rates right now will be looked at again before July 1st, but as of right now, it's $150 an hour. I can tell you that obviously our officers are not making $150 an hour out there. So there is some money that would obviously appear in the general fund. So the other, and I'm glad you mentioned it, the other approach is that the union does need to sign off, but talking with several of the members, they're very excited and they feel that this is the best to protect the town, especially with Eversource, and they don't want to see these jobs get shipped off to the state police.
Because we have experience up in Norfolk on this type of thing.
Okay.
And we cannot get a state policeman to do any time up there. Very, very rarely do we get that. So the town had, and the contractor and the state had an option where they can use
Flaggers.
flaggers.
Yes.
So I don't wanna see us get into a situation if the police union is disgruntled and brings it to, hearing, we have another option other than hiring another municipality so that we can lose that. Because there's a flagger option.
But the agreement would offer it to our officers first.
Understood.
Correct. So it goes to our officers first,
Right.
and then if it goes unfilled, then it would be shipped up to Torrington to see if they can fill it.
Like I said, I'm okay as long as our officers are
Yeah,
okay with this.
I
I have no problem.
What are the benefits of, I think I know, but the benefits of the officer over a flagger.
It's a great question. So especially when it's our officers know our community, they know our community members, right? They're gonna know, when you bring in a flagger and we need to direct cars over to Elm Street, is that flagger or that state police officer going to know exactly, when you get to the light, you gotta make a right and then it's a quick left? Are these flaggers gonna come in and do it? The other thing is, and we all know, when you see yellow lights, you somewhat slow down. When you see those red and blue lights, you immediately slow down. So I think the presence of that alone, of those officers out there are going to be, and that's not to discredit any of the flaggers that are doing a great job, but I think people see when it's a police presence, they're going to slow down even more. There's obviously
agree.
people working out there.
Hey, Paul, if Torrington comes to cover,
Yes.
do they use our car or is it
They
a
do not.
Torrington car?
So they would then charge their rate, and they would do their billing for that particular officer that worked that shift. So there could be two bills that go out. If there's a Winchester officer working the north job and a Torrington officer working the south job, both municipalities would send out their hourly rate.
So we'd have a Torrington car, Torrington police cruiser
Yes.
on Main Street?
We would, yes. Yep, we would.
Look, again, I have no problem with this, I just don't wanna see us, get anywhere with our officers in a
Yep.
bad way, so.
Yeah, I met with them maybe 2 Fridays, maybe it was last Friday, I can't remember, the days all rolled together. The membership was pretty excited, and I'll just say, it made me feel good walking out, and a lot of the officers said, we need this, our biggest thing is we need to protect the town. We need to protect the town, we need to protect our residents, and it felt good walking out of that meeting, and that these officers get it, and that they want to protect the town as much as they possibly can. And sometimes, because of other things going on, we may not be able to fill the shifts, that these officers are like, hey, then
We're
bring in
short, we're
Torrington.
working doubles
But on the
already
flip
or
side of
whatever.
it, Torrington's a big city, and they may be the next Eversource project, so we may, our officers may be able to pick up some overtime shifts up in Torrington, to cover shifts up there. It works both ways, in terms of the municipal aid.
Candy?
Yeah, I mean, we could condition our approval based on the union's approval, correct? So
Yes, you
we
could.
make the approval as long as the union approves it as well.
Correct.
I mean, if we want to do that.
Can I make a motion, or are you still in discussion?
I
Is
stay
the
out of that
union,
one.
is the union gonna be signing this document?
No, the union does not sign it. They would, as you can see, the agreement that's made. We did ask the union to look it over. Their membership's in it right now. Again, everybody's very excited about the agreement. I haven't heard really anything negative out of it. We'll wait and see. I'm not sure when they're gonna actually take official action on it, but again, I met with them some Friday ago.
Is it written?
No.
Oh, okay. So I'd like to make a motion that we,
Here,
approve,
authorize.
authorize, the town to, implement the police assistance agreement between the town of Winchester and the city of Torrington, with the caveat that, the police union for the town of Winchester is okay with it.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion further? Seeing no discussion, all in favor? Unanimous?
Thank you. And I'll keep you posted if, I'll let you know either way. When I sign it or don't sign it, I'll send y'all a note, let you know that it's been signed or not signed.
Moving on to item 12, citizens' comments. The Board of Selectmen welcomes public comments. Speakers be limited to 3 minutes or less and may speak once. Mr. Oliveri.
Frank Oliveri, 108 Shade Drive. Leading on to what Mr. Hester just talked about, the evaluation of the treatment plan. I would like us to think of something of evaluating the sanitary sewer system the same way. Bring in a consultant to clean TV and evaluate the structural integrity of the sanitary sewer system, to identify where it needs rehabilitation or it might need replacement, but at least to do the simply clean and TV, which is relatively small cost in the total valuation of an infrastructure. but that should be something we follow up with after the, as step 2 for the treatment plan. I think the city would benefit from that, because I asked this question 4 years ago when I came, and nobody knew how many feet of sewer we have or how old it is. So I think it's time to spend a little engineering time on that system. And then my other favorite program, the hood hanger program. Where are we?
The which one?
Remember when we went for the bond issue for the drainage plan, drainage around the lake? One of the options the city did and Boston did was putting the hoods on the basins that outlet into the lake
Yep.
to keep the materials out of the lake. That's something we should be considering also. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Oliver. Anyone else wish to speak? Seeing no one else, item 13, Selectmen's comments and reports. Anyone?
I got a couple things.
Troy?
Again, although Paul already mentioned it, Scott and I would like to thank the town, Paul and Jim and his crew, for taking over the flags. It's a daunting task. There's a lot of them, and when both of us work full-time, it was hard to, take time to maintain them. So I'm glad that it's back in the town's hands where it should be. Secondly, I'd like to thank all the people that helped me put the hometown hero banners in the park. Bill Hester, Bill Pozo, Mark Lampanana, Kim Higgins, Kevin Higgins, Doug Warner, who am I forgetting? I think that's it. But after a lot of hours of work and time, I actually think it came out really nice, and hope everybody else does. And then last but not least, I was involved in the pet parade and the Laurel parade, and I was very displeased that we're losing town, how am I gonna say it? I think people are lacking engagement with the town activities. When I was a kid, the pet parade was by itself, and the Laurel parade was by itself. There wasn't a place to stand on Main Street. Churchill, there was blankets out, thousands of people everywhere. They had vendors walking up down Main Street selling stuff. I was in the parade this weekend, and it was very sad. It was a small amount of people and not a lot of attendance into the parade. So, we need to bring back town pride, and I would appreciate it if people would, I know everybody's busy, but take time to enjoy some of the things that the town offers throughout the summer, in the parades and the events. Thank you.
Did you want to talk about Tetros Pond, the fishing
Oh, the
tournament?
fishing derby? Okay, here's another one. Tetros Pond Fishing Derby. Last year we had 90 people, this year we had 50 people. Like I said, again, people aren't paying attention to what's offered to their families. I see on Facebook all the time, well, there's nothing for the kids to do. Well, there is things for the kids to do if you open your eyes and pay attention to what we're offering. So, my goal as a selectman, when I became a selectman, was to engage people into town pride again. And I'm working on that, and I hope everybody else wants that also.
Other comments?
I guess it's a thank you night. I want to thank everyone that came out on Saturday and redid the flags on the cemeteries for all the veterans. The Boy Scouts, Cub Scouts were there, some veterans were there. We did well over 1,000 flags. That was a good time. Thanks to VFW for lunch down there. I did go up, thank Soldier Monument for their display and reenactments up at Soldiers Monument. That was pretty awesome. They did have a Gatling gun up there, and it was an encampment. It was really awesome. I did participate in the swing dance later on that night too, which was pretty fun. I got dragged by my brother and sister-in-law. It was fun. It was quite enjoyable. Had a good time. And the wellness at the YMCA of the grand opening, there was a drawing. And I won one of the sessions, so I'm going to get
After from this one?
Yeah, I had to make sure that I threw that out there. I did, so. After the swing dance, I'm gonna need
See, I would
it.
have donated it if I won.
No, it's in my name, so I just wanna thank everybody that day. It was a very busy day, for sure.
Ken, did you have anything? Paul, you have anything?
I'm sorry, Mr. Mayor, and I don't like to do, is there any video you swing dancing? Because
Yeah.
we would need to see that.
You would have to talk to the people that were there, and I'm not giving names.
So just a couple,
We'll do our research, Bill.
I'm sure you will.
in closing, a couple of things. Just a reminder, this Thursday, the 22nd, we have a town meeting for the sale of town-owned property at 6 PM here in the Hicks Room.
Here in the Hicks Room, 269 Walnut Street is the item to be discussed.
6 PM. That's this coming
Disastrous,
Thursday.
Storm on Thursday.
On May 27th, the following Tuesday, town referendum, 8 AM to 8 PM, the Pearson School. So we have that coming up. I was pleased today to represent Winsted at the Hartford Armory for the Connecticut World War II Veteran Recognition Ceremony. There were 16.4 million Americans that served the country during World War II. Connecticut still has about 680 living World War II veterans, and about 70 of them were there today. I was impressed by the number and the ages of many of them in attendance. We had a 105-year-old, 103. I thought Mr. Maralda for Winsted was 102, was going to be up the top. He was a youngster compared to some of the other ones. And piggybacking a little bit on what Troy said, we have a lot of exciting news coming on in Winchester. Economic Development announced 5 potential projects coming in the very near future, and there were some people complaining about these projects on Facebook. You are either part of the problem or you're part of the solution. We need more people in the town of Winchester to be part of the solution and support these new businesses when they come to town. With that, is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
A second.
All in favor? Unanimous. Thank you. Don't forget, this Thursday and the following Tuesday is the referendum.